All right, we're back for another film study. This time we're in the lab talking Jayden Daniels, the magnificent performance against the Lions on Saturday night. I'm going to show you some good. I'm going to show you some bad against the Eagles a little bit earlier in the year, a game that Washington did come back to win, but Vic Fangio confused Jayden Daniels. Multiple parts of that game forced him into some bad throws, some bad reads, 2 interceptions. So he ain't Superman, even though he looks like it. He is still a rookie quarterback, and you can confuse him a little bit if you throw some different things at him. The Lions did none of that. They came with a very base coverage, cover one, right? One safety up high with pretty much man-to-man across the board and a pressure look in some capacity. In this particular case, they did not bring an extra guy, but I'm going to show you a play a little bit later where they give you a 5-man rush. All right, here's a play. Let me scroll back to my notes here. So I'm doing all my notes handwritten now. You guys like this, handwritten notes? I just feel a little bit more connected when I'm writing things down. All right, so this is the first play of the second quarter. It's a second down throw at the Washington 42. You're going to see 2 tight ends. Actually, it's a 2-by-2 set with 2 tight ends. Actually, Washington ran a lot of 12 personnel in this game with both tight ends on the field. 1 tight end, 1 receiver at the bottom. 1 tight end, 1 receiver at the top. The reason why both tight ends are in the formation here tight to the line of scrimmage is because they're both blocking in this particular scenario. It is a max protection scheme. The goal of this concept, just a simple man-beater concept. Again, when you're getting a lot of man coverage looks, Washington ran a lot of man-beater type concepts. Just some deep crossing routes. Nothing that out of the ordinary. This is, again, I would say one of the more basic man-beater concepts. The problem is, again, this route tree does take some time to develop, which is probably why Washington decided to go max protect. Again, Jayden Daniels' read here is just this single high safety at the top. If the safety drifts down here, well, then Demi Brown is going to be wide open at the top for a deep crossing route. You can kind of see the play develop better from the end zone view. There's your max protect. This is the safety that Jayden Daniels is reading. His eyes are going to be on this safety the entire time. Once Joseph kind of drifts there to that side, well, then Brown is going to be wide open on the crossing route to the left. And again, you can just watch this play develop. It's a really easy concept. Washington blocks it well, and it's an easy throw for Jayden Daniels. I mean, he was getting throws like this. He actually didn't take a lot of deep shots in the game. This was one of the few deep shots that he took. He was taking a lot of underneath stuff for most of the game. But it was a relatively easy coverage to diagnose. All right, let's go to later in the first half. Different concept here, but still the same coverage you're reading, right? You get man coverage here at the top. You got the single high, cover one, free safety deep. And when you motion Brown to the opposite side, this corner is going to run with him. So again, you're getting a very basic man coverage look for Jayden Daniels to diagnose at the snap. Now, the concept Washington is trying to run on this play, this is later in the first half. It's another second down throw. And McLaurin on the outside is just going to run a deep option route. He's either going to hook it up here or he's going to work across the field depending on what the corner does and how he plays him. But the real read that Jayden Daniels is trying to make here is Brown running the dagger route across the field to the far post, the far pylon. And essentially, if Kirby Joseph cheats to the strong side, well, then that pocket's going to be available. If Kirby Joseph kind of hovers here in the middle and plays a traditional free safety, well, then this option route's likely going to be open. You're going to have a pocket right there to hook up into. 2 things that Jayden Daniels does really, really well here. The first thing is obviously reading the free safety. You're going to see at the snap, watch Joseph at the snap cheat to that side. Once Joseph cheats, he just takes a few steps back and towards the strong side. Once Joseph cheats, I mean, look at this. Look at this gigantic pocket of space that Jayden Daniels has available to him that Demi Brown is going to run into. The next part of this play that Jayden Daniels does execute so well, that is subtle, it goes under the radar, is the protection. You do have one, so if I go back to the snap here, you have 2 tight ends at the bottom. Ertz is going to run a route. This tight end that's right next to the right tackle is going to block. So you have one extra blocker on the right side of the offensive line. Meanwhile, you have a wide split here on the defensive end, call it a wide 9. and he is going to get some pressure off the edge in the left tackle position. Well, Jayden Daniels also knows that he's exposed to that side because he doesn't have a tight end on the left side helping him with the protection. So watch Jayden Daniels, a very subtle little hitch towards the right side of the line, right there. And again, that's almost instinctual. That is probably not something that the Washington coaches are really harping on him during this play. Right now, the key thing you're harping on is where this free safety is going and if you're going to have this available or this available. But Jayden Daniels, again, instinctively knows, hey, my protection's on the right. I've got an extra tight end over there. Let's just do a little slide to give myself one extra beat, one extra half second in order to have enough time. And Daniel still takes a hit, still feels some pressure, and throws an absolute dime. This is one of the best throws of the year. But I want to, again, besides the throw, besides the read of the coverage, the protection alignment, the protection management, being able to see right there that you need to slide to the right just a half second, just a half beat, in order to give you extra time to make this throw. And look at this throw. I mean, look at this throw. And look at the corner essentially blindfolding Daimi Brown. But the throw was so freaking good, dropped it right into the bucket. Brown didn't even need to see it in order to catch it. I mean, that's how good the throw is. Unbelievable throw. But again, there are two things that make this play elite level quarterbacking. First, being able to feel this safety drift out of the box. And once Daniels sees it. He sees it. Once he sees it, he knows, hey, I'm going to have Brown open on this dagger route. But he also, at the same time, feels the defensive end getting a little bit of pressure off the edge. And so, again, instinctively, it's very subtle. It's like a half hitch. Look at that, right there. And that half hitch, that little step towards where your strong side protection is, that is what makes this play work. Because look, right at the last second, defensive end gets pressure, puts a hit on Daniels, still is able to deliver the throw at just an elite position. All right, now let's get to some of the bad for Jayden Daniels. We just showed you the good, how he can manipulate time and space like a freaking magician and read cover one pretty easily. This is now a different coverage scheme that he's facing against the Eagles. This is the most recent matchup against Philly. I believe it was week 16. Might be wrong on that. But this is one of those situations where I think Jayden Daniels believes he has man coverage. Then Philly throws you a zone look, and Daniels kind of panics and has to alter his throw, and it leads to an interception. So this is a second quarter play, 1st and 10, ball's at the Washington 33. Philly's got the lead in the game by 7. You're going to see McNichols motion to empty here. And when McNichols motions, look at Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean's like, hey, man coverage. He's kind of giving you the flash look here. He is, I think, faking man coverage. I think he is trying to show Jayden Daniels, hey, look, Jayden, I'm picking up McNichols. McNichols is my guy. I mean, you could see like he just kind of gives you like the whole, it's like a great acting job. Look, hey, I got man coverage. And at the snap, you think it's man, right? You got Slay on the outside here. Here's man coverage. You got Bond kind of matched up here in the slot, and then you got man coverage on the outside. The purpose of this route, if you have man coverage across the board, empty, first of all, you're trying to get something out quick because you got a 4-man rush and you got 5 linemen to protect. So you're probably going to get some pressure at some point. But another situation that I think Jayden Daniels believes he has an advantage here is Luke McCaffrey matched up against Zach Bond. That's a mismatch for Luke McCaffrey. You're a shifty, speedy receiver going up against a bigger, bulkier linebacker. That receiver, 99.9% of the time, should be able to win one-on-one man coverage against a linebacker. And what happens? He does win. Luke runs this little cross route over the middle, which is traditionally something you would run against man coverage. He gets a ton of separation on Bond, but watch what Dean does at the snap. Dean kind of acts like the snap, like he's going to cover, and then he pops back into this zone coverage. How do we know it's zone coverage? Butts to the sideline. Look at all the butts to the sideline for the secondary. When it's butts to the sideline and it's eyes on the quarterback, that is zone coverage. Man coverage, butts to the end zone, or butts to the quarterback because you're running with your man. But at the snap, the Eagles go from a man look to a zone look, and all of a sudden, I mean, look, you got a ton of separation there by Luke McCaffrey. Jayden Daniels is like, oh no. We've got a linebacker that's creeping up into this spot. I need to put more air on the ball in order to find that window, in order to get it over the linebacker and into the hands of my receiver. But when there's a little bit of pressure up the middle here, which there is, it creates a little bit of difficulty with Jayden Daniels making this throw. So what happens? He airmails the throw, not a lot, but enough to miss his intended receiver, and he throws it right into the hands of the waiting free safety, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. You can see this play develop much better from the end zone view. So you can see Dean. He's like, hey, man coverage. I've got McNichols. Yeah, but you don't have McNichols. You're going to fake like you've got McNichols. Then you're going to suck yourself up into that middle pocket, and you're going to force an interception. Again, this is a hard read for Jayden Daniels to make because he thinks he's got man coverage here in the slot, and he thinks he's got man coverage here in the slot on the other side. He does on half the side. But Dean here is going to be in zone coverage. And actually, Bond, I think, is playing zone too. And that's why he kind of lets McNichols kind of run right past him. And at this point, you're thinking, hey, I've got a pocket here. I can fire this ball in. But Dean does a great job in getting back into that pocket of space, and he forces an errant throw, and it leads to an interception. These are the types of reads, these are the types of throws in tight windows that Vic Fangio and the Eagles defense will force you to make. All right, a little bit later in the half, this is the fourth quarter. This is a 3rd and 5, obvious passing down for Washington. Philly's leading in the game. So again, Washington's kind of in, not hurry-up mode with 3 minutes left, but they're very much in aggressive mode because they're trailing in the game late in the fourth quarter. Another motion to empty here. So you see McNichols motion to empty, and what does that do? It forces Dean to kind of show you his hand. At this point in time, just like you saw earlier in the game, Jayden Daniels is probably thinking, all right, I've either got Dean in zone on McNichols, and I've got to worry about that, or he's going to play man-to-man. But Dean does neither of those things in this particular situation. What does Dean do? Boom, he comes on a blitz. What does that do? It forces Jayden Daniels to panic a little bit. He gets flushed out of the pocket. First of all, by the way, unbelievable job by the left guard here, Cosme, coming back and picking that up. Really, the only chance that Jayden Daniels didn't have to get sacked on this play was Cosme coming right here and kind of seeing that Dean was coming on a backside blitz. And he did a nice job to give Daniels just an extra pocket, just an extra half a second, I would say, to kind of suck himself up and make a play. But Jalen Carter, big old Jalen Carter here, is going to win one-on-one. And he's going to keep the pocket contained, keep Daniels in the pocket. And what's that going to do? It's going to force Jayden Daniels to do something a quarterback should never do, which is throw late over the middle. And we'll get a much better view of it from the end zone. Again, the end zone is where you can really see these plays develop. But Dean's right here. McNichols is going to motion out. And Dean's going to run with him. And at this point, you're probably thinking, hey, I've either got man coverage on a running back on the outside, or Dean's going to be in zone again. And he didn't do any of those things. So, again, this is just another disguised blitz scheme that Vic Fangio throws at Jayden Daniels, who makes a really bad decision late over the middle. Now, if he could do this over again, you've got to come quick here. Now, it's 3rd and 5, so he's probably trying to push the ball past the sticks, but it's also late in the game. You're probably going for it on 4th down. The read here is hot. It's hot and it's quick to McNichols because once Dean comes on the blitz, this is the pocket of space that's open. And Blankenship's trying to suck up in there, but I think you got to make that throw quick. You got to make it now, right to McNichols. Boom. I mean, that's the hot right there. When you're blitzing, you've got to have a route finding the space that the blitzer's coming from. And I guess Daniels either didn't see it or he is trying to get Ertz one-on-one with Bond open over the middle. I'm not really sure. You've got to kind of be in the room with these guys to really know what the reads are and really know what the outcome of the play was supposed to be. Sometimes it's hard. These are very complex schemes. I'm trying my best to break it down, but a lot of it is way above my pay grade. But in this particular case, my guess is Cliff Kingsbury saying, hey, Jayden, get McNichols on the hot. Maybe you set up 4th and short. Maybe he makes Blankenship miss and picks up the first down on 3rd and 5. But either way, it's certainly better than getting flushed out of the pocket and essentially running right into Jalen Carter and then making an off-balance, off-platform throw late over the middle, which gets tipped up and eventually finds the hands of an Eagles defender. So, again, these are the types of reads. These are the types of schemes that Jayden Daniels is going to be tasked with solving in the game against the Eagles on Sunday. Philly is a relatively big favorite in the game, not quite to a touchdown, about 5.5, 6-point favorite. The total is hovering around 48, which is kind of in line with the numbers we saw from the first two matchups between Philly and Washington. Of course, Philly won the first one, covered the first one at home. Washington in this game, it's crazy. 30-28, Jayden Daniels throws an interception with 3 minutes left. Washington still found a way to come back and win this game. Obviously, Devontae Smith had the drop on 3rd down in the red zone. The Eagles kicked a field goal to go up 5. And then Jayden Daniels led that great drive in the final 2 minutes to score a touchdown and win the game. I think Vic Fangio is going to do a better job in this third matchup, disguising some things and making it harder for Jayden Daniels to read the defense. He had such an easy time of reading the Lions defense, cover one, blitz schemes. You know you're getting man-to-man. We don't know what Jayden Daniels is going to see in this matchup. It's going to be some man. It's probably going to be a lot of zone, probably more disguised blitzes like you just saw with Nakobe Dean right there. The issue is for the Eagles, Nakobe Dean is on IR, and Quinyon Mitchell, one of their best corners, got nicked up in the divisional round. So maybe the personnel is where Washington finds an edge here. If Philly has to kind of change some of their traditional schemes and looks because they don't quite have the personnel. Nakobe Dean does everything. You saw Nakobe Dean. That was almost more of a Nakobe Dean highlight reel than it was Jayden Daniels. You saw him fake man, go into zone, create a bad throw, create an interception. Then you saw him blitz later in the game and again force that pressure and force Daniels to throw late over the middle. I think Vic Fangio still has the element of experience on his side. I think this Eagles defense, which has been unbelievable all season, continues to get better, continues to gel, continues to congeal to this Fangio scheme. And I think Daniels is going to have a much more difficult time navigating the pocket, navigating the pressure, navigating the coverages than he did against the Lions on Saturday night. They ain't dropping 40 in this game. Feels like a lower scoring game, feels like a tight game. I think the Eagles win. They probably cover. And I think Philly will be going to the Super Bowl to play probably the Chiefs on 2 Sundays from now in New Orleans.